everyone, it's Lindsay. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my tips on getting the right mindset to declutter. I have done a number of decluttering videos on my channel. I actually have a playlist dedicated to me decluttering. I've decluttered my clothes, my makeup, and I wanted to share with you guys the things that I have learned along the way. Decluttering can be such a daunting and overwhelming task, and if you guys are feeling unsure and if you're feeling the same way, hopefully these tips will help you guys. My first tip is the very obvious one that you hear all the time, but keep things that bring you joy. I think when you're starting off on your decluttering session, it's easy to pick out the things that you love first so that it doesn't overwhelm you and stress you out as much. You learn more about your personal style and also what you're interested in so that when you are going out to buy something, it will impact your personal purchasing decision. To be honest, when I did my closet declutter a few years back, that's something that I didn't pick up on. Now I did keep the things that I love, but from there I didn't really pick up on like my personal style. And I know your personal style is always evolving, but I definitely made throughout the years purchasing decisions that it was kind of just like a little bit more of a waste that I wasn't as interested in. So when you declutter and really think about the things that you love and your style, it just helps you so much more in the long run. So that's why it's incredibly important to keep the things that you love. Not only does it make you happy, but you also learn a lot more about yourself. My second tip is to declutter the things that you can't mend or are very, very worn. I know this sounds incredibly obvious again, but I do have a habit sometimes to keep things that I absolutely love to wear, even though that they are worn. I actually have a sweater right now that I have worn so much throughout the years, but it's kind of fraying and it's very pilled up. I love it so much that I don't want to let it go, but I'm not even really wearing it. These items just take up space, so it's just easier for yourself to let it go. I need to listen to my own advice and get rid of that sweater. My third tip is to not keep things that you aren't going to tailor. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to the tailor. I actually do recommend it if you have a piece that you absolutely love, but you need to get it tailored. Go to the tailor so it can fit your body correctly and you'll wear it for a lot longer. But there have been a number of pieces that I have purchased that don't quite fit me right, and honestly I have just been so incredibly lazy to go to the tailor. Back of my head, I know I'm not gonna get it tailored and I just end up decluttering that item. If it doesn't quite fit you right and you know you're not gonna get it tailored, don't buy it in the first place. My next tip is to not keep the what if items. And I'm talking here like, what if I'm gonna need this in a few months? What if I'm gonna use this during Christmas time? What if, what if, what if? And the issue with that is a lot of the times we just don't end up using those items. What I found very helpful is to give yourself a deadline to use them. If I don't use it within the few months, then I will donate it. My next tip is to not keep items purely because it was expensive. I know that this tip is easier said than done, but if you're keeping an item that you don't love that is very expensive, it's just taking up a lot of space. With items like these, I do recommend trying to sell it if it's in good condition. At least if you sell it, you will get some of your money back, even though it's not all of it. And honestly, these expensive purchases that you want to declutter is a learning experience for yourself. My next tip is to not keep multiples of the same item. And if you have multiples of the same item that you are using each of them, there's nothing wrong with like keeping all of that. I'm talking here, like for example, if you have like 5 gray shirts that all look very similar, but you only use one of them, you don't need to keep the rest of them that you don't use. Again, that's just taking up space. It's just better to keep that one that you absolutely love and declutter the rest. Those were my tips on like actually decluttering items. Now I'm going to move on to tips to help change your mindset to prevent accumulating items. The reason why I wanted to include this section here is because I do believe that it is important to really think about the things that you are bringing into your home so that you don't have to feel like you need to declutter all the time. So my first tip here is to have clear intention with anything that you're bringing into your space. So what I mean here is that, do you have a very clear vision of what you're going to use this item for? I'm gonna speak from personal experience here, but for example, sometimes when I go into Target and I see something cute that I wanna get, I sometimes feel like I make up a reason to buy that item. It's just a lot better to take a look at your surroundings, make note of what exactly you need so that you're not going out and buying things that you don't need and use. My next tip is to try and spend a little bit more within budget on things that you love and are higher quality. When I purchase things that are cheap, they're not the best quality and they don't last me as long because they break down. I just learned that it's better to spend a little bit more on the things that you love because they will last you longer. Now, to me, there is a difference between cheap and inexpensive. Inexpensive to me feels like that particular item is a little bit more affordable and doesn't cost as much, whereas cheap is inexpensive, but the quality isn't as great. Now, my next tip I feel like kind of goes more with clothes, but it is to think about your lifestyle and where you spend the majority of your time. The reason why I feel like this goes more towards clothing items is because I feel like there are some times where you can go into a store and see an outfit that you like, but you're not entirely sure where or when you're going to wear that. Thinking about where you spend the majority of your time just forces you to be a little bit more realistic when it comes to accumulating things. For example, for me, I'm a mom that works in an office. The majority of my time is being a mom and working in an office, and I don't need to have like a million clothes that are for going out. A lot of my clothes need to be more like business casual office type clothes, so it doesn't really make sense for me to have so many outfits for going out if I'm not really actually going out. And my last tip is to be patient. This helps prevent impulse purchases and just helping you not buy things you don't need. If you are an online shopper, is to add that item in your cart, exit immediately, and give yourself a day to mull it over. Honestly, I wouldn't even say a day, give it a week or a month and see how you feel. A lot of the times I find that I just forget about that after I give myself time to think. If you are constantly thinking about that item, then I would consider purchasing that. Alright, so that was it for my tips and for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any tips of your own, please share them in the comments below. I would love to know what tips that you guys have. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye everyone!